Chapter 59.
You are now listening to the Chapter of the Architect with DJ Architect.
What's going on, my people? This is your homeboy, DJ Architect. I want to welcome you guys to another chapter of the Architect. Listen, this is Chapter 59 with a homeboy, a good friend of mine that I grew up with on the streets of Uniondale, New York. My man, DJ Slam, is on the MIC. DJ Slam, how you doing, my brother?
I'm doing great, Papa. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Listen, man, unfortunately, we're talking to you right now. You in the hospital, man. So big ups to you.
I am.
So tell us about... Talk.
Nothing. It's nothing. I got a little foot. It started off as a little blister. Real quick, let's just get rid of the technical talk. I ended up with a little blister, and I got diabetes. So with my neuropathy on my feet, it wasn't circulating the way it should be. We're working on it. That's what I'm doing here. Everything's gonna be fine eventually, and let's go from there. You know what I mean?
Man. Well, we all gonna have some prayers and some blessings coming your way, man. Absolutely. We can't have DJ Slam.
I would appreciate that.
Absolutely. We can't have DJ Slam down and out, man. But, listen, this is the opportunity. I'm so sad that it's unfortunate, the type of situation that you're in right now, but you're here and you're on the podcast. Thank you so much for being here.
Anytime, brother. Anytime, anything for you, My man Architect, we've been doing it since back in Uniondale, since back 10th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th grade. You know how long we've been doing it. I'm talking forever. Since before the 90s. Before the 90s, I graduated high school in 92, and before that, we've been doing this.
Thank you,
sir.
So
I just want to tell you, thank you for the blessings, but you know what I'm saying? I'm doing all right. I could be worse. It could definitely be worse. I'm blessed, and that's that.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for being so humble, and absolutely, you're doing this inside of a hospital bed, and I couldn't ask for anything more. This is so gracious.
So if I gotta break away for a minute or two, it's because they giving me my medication or they coming to check on me real quick. Unfortunately, I can't control what the hospital does and at what time they do it.
No.
So as long as I can, I'll be rocking with you.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? But I'll apologize ahead of time should something inconvenience us and we cannot continue with the interview.
Absolutely. Listen, no worries about it, man. We're going to get it popping. Listen, the reason why I wanted you on the podcast so badly is because you were one of the individuals within our crew, our clique, that when I moved to Uniondale, you were one of the individuals that had the 1200s, the techniques, correct?
Yes, I had three of them. Yes,
I
gave one to Danny.
This is Danny Roman.
Danny Roman. I gave one of my 1200s to Danny Roman. Yes.
We have spoken about you. You are almost like a myth, a legend within the podcast of my podcast community, because everyone always tells me, you're always talking about DJ Slam. DJ Slam this, DJ Slam that. Where are you going to get him on? When are we going to talk to him?
First and foremost, he's not a myth. He's a legend. I'm here. I am a real thing. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So if anybody was questioning whether I'm alive or not, I'm still alive. I'm still kicking, and we was all doing it big time. Don Q, Raz, Danny Roman, you, me. It was just I can't even fathom the start. I remember Raz. He's the one who gave me the outlook. Because real talk, I was DJing a little bit with my brother Derek, and we started off with these bullshit ass turntables in the basement. And then what had happened was that me and Derek was into hip hop. Then I met Raz, and he showed me a whole nother side of DJing, which was the freestyle, which was freestyle music. So then I was one of the first DJs to incorporate the scratching in freestyle. You know what I'm saying? It was a little faster, a little harder, but it was nothing. It was nothing. It was just another phase of DJing. And I got to thank my man Raz for that. Straight up and down.
You know,
word up.
Listen, I think the reason why we were so amazed with what you were doing was, give me 1 second, was because your scratching was so live, was so precise. Specifically having the 1200s. I recall when I moved from Westbury, and the first person I meet is Danny Roman, DJ Drone.
Right.
And then I meet DJ Don Q, which is Donnie. And then they introduced me to Raz, and then you were the last piece of the puzzle to form Voltron. You understand what I'm saying?
He said Voltron. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I am talking about. That is an awesome analogy.
Absolutely. Now, they introduced me to you. Now, at the time, we weren't really physically getting into DJing. We were just trying out the waters and finding out, okay, pretty much I think what they were trying to do is to see if I could get along with you guys. And they brought me in. And hey, this is boom boom bow. Hey, how you doing? So for about a good week, 2 weeks, we didn't do nothing DJing. We just hung out.
Nothing DJing. We just hung out up at Raz's house.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
And then all I did was I just sat back and I just watched you guys DJ. Nobody allowed me to touch the turntables. You know what I mean? I think 2 weeks after that, because I used to play, to this day, I play guitar. I brought a guitar to Raz's house, and Raz was like, "What the fuck is this?" And I was like, "Well, I play guitar." And he goes, "Well, get the fuck out of here with that shit, man." Hey, what are you gonna do with that?
Funny.
Get the hell out of here.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And then one thing led to another, but then they started to find out that I could write songs, and
and not only can you write the songs, you can sing the songs also. I don't know how much you've told your podcast world about your voice and how if you didn't make it DJing, you definitely would have made it singing.
Thank you, sir.
I remember your voice. Like it was a jewel in the now. It's one thing to hear people's voices over the radio. And that's simple. Anybody could turn on the radio and listen to anybody on the radio. It's another thing to listen to an individual with your own ears and then hear them breaking down each syllable of each sound the way you did to make a song. Now that's what I heard. I got to hear firsthand with you and also with Donnie.
Thank you.
With you guys is the way you guys were doing it. It was just so amazing to me, which made me stick more to freestyle.
Thank you.
You know what
sir.
I'm saying?
You know that
which made freestyle my repertoire because of you guys.
I'm humble
because of you guys. It was easy. You know what it was? It was easy for me to scratch. I was a hard DJ, so I had 1200s, but I still had to put a penny on top of my needles. So my needles wouldn't jump around.
Yes.
That's how hard I was DJing.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I mean, I can't thank you enough for what you've instilled in me. I appreciate it. I'll never forget it. And what Donnie's doing these days with it is ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
You're absolutely right. And what Danny is doing is absolutely ridiculous. But let's rewind a bit, Matt. Rewind a bit. Let's go back to those moments that I want the world to know about. So here I am. I come from Westbury, and then I meet DJ Droman, which is Danny, and then DJ Don Q.
Right.
Then they introduce me, and they're all talking about, hey, Raz. And I'm thinking to myself, like, damn, these guys are like bigging up Raz. Okay, cool, man. All right, Raz. And the reason why they were bigging up Raz so much is because Raz his home was the hub. His home was
Yes, it
the
was.
Needle.
Yes, it was the Needle. It was the Needle. And his parents and his little brothers, all of it, all together was a part of Raz. You know what I'm saying? And another reason that we didn't click right away, me and Raz was a grade above you guys. If you don't remember, you guys were
That's
back
right.
in 10th grade. We were already in 11th grade. When you guys were in 11th, we were already a senior. So you know what I'm saying?
That's
It was
right.
nothing to us.
That's right.
It was nothing to us, dog. It was nothing but love, dog. All the age separation and the grade separation made no difference, dog.
That's right.
Like you said, we formed a crew, and just like Voltron formed a man.
That's right.
That's exactly what we did. That's exactly what we did.
Absolutely. So then we go into this period where you guys bring me in. Danny and Donnie introduce me into the clique, and then I go to Raz's house. And then I was so amazed that everybody in the crew had DJ equipment. I didn't have DJ equipment. All I had was a piece of shit guitar and an amplifier, but everybody had DJ equipment.
But look at what you had. You see, I had turntables. Raz had turntables. To see you show up with a guitar, of course, we laughed about it, because what you don't know is true to this day. What people don't know, they like to laugh at, because we didn't know how you got down on the guitar. Nevertheless, how you sang. But when we heard you, we was like, oh, okay, now this makes total sense. This ain't just no geek off the street with a guitar. No, this is Los. This is the Architect doing it.
Oh, man.
Doing it with the guitar
I'm
and
humbled.
singing. And this is why it to this day, I still haven't heard many live voices like that. And I appreciate you for that.
Oh, man, I feel so very humbled for you to say that, man. Extremely humbled. Extremely humbled. All I remember is the first, and let me tell you what's important to me is when you guys, you didn't sit me down. All you guys took me aside, and you guys said, watch. Because like I said, my family comes from humble backgrounds, and the guitar that I got, I saved up my Christmas money, my birthday money, and you guys were specifically you had the top-notch equipment at such a young age.
And that took a lot of begging. I tell you what, it wasn't until I could show a little bit of my skills and my scratching skills to my pops. So he faulted in, and then he went and spent the 1100 on the 1200.
Shit. Tell us about that story.
Shit.
Tell us about that story.
Shit. One time, I'm downstairs in the basement, and my father comes downstairs, and he goes, you're blasting the whole house. You're shaking down the whole house. I said, well, I'd put the volume down a little bit if you could give me some equipment. And he was like, well, what do you got? So with the bad turntables, which I had, which one was an Onkenhoff. I don't remember if I'm saying the name of the turntable right. But one was an Onkenhoff, and the other one was some other no-name turntable. And I just showed my father what I could do. And then that's when he was like, you know what? My next birthday, I had the 1200s. And I tell you what, it wasn't because of my grades, and it wasn't because I was a great child, because I was a pain in the ass to my parents, and my grades were no good. So it was definitely because of my DJing skills that my father got me these 1200s. Maybe they saw it as a way to get this child out of their house.
Wow.
Maybe, but that's the reason they bought me the 1200s.
Wow. Well, you know what?
And that's how I ended up with the 1200s first.
Well, DJ Slam, bless your dad.
Definitely. And rest in heaven, Pops. Definitely. Big ups. Like really, really, truly and sincerely, dog.
Bless your dad. For having the insight to recognize a natural talent.
Yep. I don't know. I really, really appreciate you, dog. I don't know if it was talent or it was just me messing around. I've never got into it as seriously as you guys did, like the way Donnie and Danny are doing it these days. You know what I'm saying? That's amazing to me, and I love it. I love it.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
Well, the reason why I would say but is because we were, ladies and gentlemen. So let's go back to that story. So these individuals, we were at Raz's house, Danny's house, Donnie's house, and I was just a sponge. They would tell me, "Watch me," and I would sit back and I would watch these individuals. And then slowly they would say to me, "Okay, I'm gonna start teaching you how to blend." So they would say to me, "Okay, this is the snare, this is the downbeat," and I would say, "Okay." So now what you want to do is you want to time the downbeat with the incoming song, and they would say to me, "Yeah," and they would say to me, "But you just can't mix it in the middle of a verse."
No, you have to hit the right break.
Right, so you would have to hit the break.
Which with freestyle is hard to do, because when they did their breakdowns, they would do a bunch of the beat wouldn't be so on point. If you go back to listen to a bunch of freestyle songs when they actually broke down the song itself, they were actually a little bit off beat, which made it just a little bit harder for us.
Right.
But we managed. You know exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to that.
So let's break it down, which ladies and gentlemen, which makes it much more difficult at that time for me to learn, because nowadays you have software such as Serato, where you could see the wave format and you could actually see the downbeat, you could see the snare, and you could line it up. But now, back then, it was all by ear. So you would have to
by ear.
So you would have to do simple things like speed up the vinyl, or if not, you would pinch the nipple. Could you DJ
pinch the nipple? Let me tell you something. You talk to 99 out of 100 people, and they think that you're being a devious freak. Because you're talking about pinching the nipple. We're not talking about pinching that nipple, you guys. We're talking about holding the middle of the turntable just hard enough to slow it down without breaking the tempo.
Yes.
So that you can blend in the next album.
My man.
They know what I'm talking about.
My man. So they taught me to pinch the nipple. And then, my man, I remember this specifically this one time. My man, DJ Droman, Danny, Roman, we were after school, or it might have been a Saturday, and he says to me, "Do you know, have you learned how to phase?" And I said, "No." And he goes, "Okay, I'm going to teach you how to phase." And he grabs one record, and then he grabs another record. Both of them are the same records, and he starts playing them exactly at the same time. And then he says,
and then you pinch the nipple.
Yes. And then he says to me, pinch the nipple. And I said, "What?
Yeah.
What's that?" And he goes and he shows me, and he grabs the little silver, ring where you put the vinyl hole in, and he goes, "Hey, just press it down." Okay, cool.
And it gives you that, and it gave you almost a robotic sound if you did it right. Exactly the sound. Yeah. That's a great analogy.
And then he goes, "Okay, so what happens is," he goes, "You see now when you punch it too hard, both of the downbeats are gonna sound like horses hitting, like horses running." And he goes, that's what we call horses. So what that happens is, the moment that happens is, you grab the vinyl and you lightly pull it to the right to speed it up. And then all of a sudden you're going to hear,
come back together.
To come back to the phasing. He goes, that's phasing. I said, "That's beautiful, man." And at that moment, I was captivated. I had learned how to blend and how to phase. And then we get into the situation where now scratching. And these individuals within our clique were not masters of scratching. They were good. They were good. But when we went to your basement where you had the 1200s, all three of us sat there in awe, looking at each other like looking at you, like very meticulous. Like, how does he do it? And you have a very signature move, and I don't know if you realize it, but you would lick your fingers You would lick your fingers and you would put it on the vinyl and do some spectacular things.
Well, actually, I licked my fingers only for more traction. It wasn't for nothing more than a little bit of more traction. If you over lick them, you're gonna slip. If you under lick them, they're not gonna work. But if you do it just right, you'll have the right amount of traction for the right amount of scratches for any amount of scratches that you wanted to do. And I was a heavy DJ. You know what I'm saying? I was always that heavy DJ. Like I told you, I had to put a penny on the needle because I scratched that hard. I had to learn how to become a softer scratcher. If you could believe that, I learned how to scratch and then learned how to become a softer scratcher. So then it made sense. It was easier, and I no longer needed the penny on the needle. You know,
DJ Slam, that must have taken hours and months of practice.
Oh, it took a couple of months. It took a couple of months, but DJ Raz, we went through that phase together. Almost basically, we went through that phase together. Definitely, without a doubt. He's the one who got me. Believe it or not, DJ Raz is the one who got me into really DJing and really looking into freestyle music and stop thinking all hip hop, because all I thought was hip hop. All I hear was Kid Capri, all these other DJs that were scratching and doing all these things. I thought that's what I had to do to be a DJ. You know, I had to scratch and I had to blend my shit just right, but it wasn't all about that either. You know what I'm saying? If you phase in and out right, and if you blend it right, and if you scratch just right, because you could over scratch. Believe it or not, there's definitely a thing called over scratching, and DJs to this day still do it. You know what I'm saying? Funkmaster Flex is one of the most famous over scratches there is.
No shit.
No shit, to this day. He still over scratches. Every time I put on Hot 97 that I could listen to it from where I'm at in Arizona, I can still tell he's over scratching. Sometimes you don't want all that scratching. Sometimes you want to hear the song.
My man.
Without all that scratching.
My man. You know what?
I had to learn how to tone it down. I had to learn to tone it down.
Thank you for saying that, because what I have learned in almost a culture of DJing that I have almost changed to and adapted to is I'll give a drop at the beginning of my mix, and I won't.
Yep.
I will do maybe 2 or 3 scratches within a 60-minute mix, and then I'll do maybe 3 or 4 loops, and then I'll let I try to let the entirety of the song play. And the reason is because, and I learned this from live events, is where I'll, in the middle of a song, I'll cut off the third verse because that's the break. Here comes the bridge. Here comes the break. And that's a perfect time for a DJ to say, okay, cool.
That's where the break is, between the second and third verse.
Right. So boom, here comes the break. And then I would slip in the next song as the break is coming in, but it will leave out the third verse. And then a lot of people would say to me, why didn't you let the song play in its entirety? See, what I learned is when people hire you for a gig, a lot of the times they want to hear old music that reminds them of their childhood. There's nothing wrong with that. So they want to hear
nothing whatsoever. Nothing at all. There's nothing wrong with that.
So they want to hear the whole song in its entirety. So what happens with us as DJs, when we find a break, that's we start to salivate, because we start to say, okay, cool, that's the perfect time for us to mix in the next song, because that's the break. We have about 4 to 8 bars. We have plenty of time to mix in the next song. And then people, they'll come up and say, why didn't you play the song in its whole entirety? So I've learned to try to play the whole song, and it's very difficult to do that, because some songs after the third verse, after the 3 choruses,
you don't have enough time.
You have limited.
You're running out of time.
You have limited.
You're limited
time.
on time. Exactly.
Yes, you have limited time to find a downbeat to bring in and to properly, precisely blend in the next track. But we do it. We make it happen. There are effects that we have within mixers now, specifically with 1200s, a magical tool that I recall you utilizing many times was just stopping the vinyl, and it would go, and then
exactly.
you would pop another one. You were a master at that.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, dog. I didn't think that. I thought I was just DJing with my homies. I never thought that I was making an imprint on anybody's way of being. So I appreciate you. I appreciate you very much. Definitely, without a doubt.
No, I must,
without a doubt.
I must let you know.
We gotta get back together. We gotta get back together one of these days.
Listen, the basics I could sit here and I could tell you were taught from Raz. As far as from my skill set, from Raz, Danny, the basics were taught from them, but the extravagant, the precision, I attempted to learn from you.
Thank you, brother. And you learned. You did learn. You learned well. I remember a couple summers ago, I went out to see you in California, and we were doing it in your garage. You're still doing it big time, bro. I've left the game a long time ago. I hadn't touched turntables in forever. Go to your house, and you still got all of the whole setup. It was like being a teenager again. It brought back all kinds of memories, dog. We just sat there in your garage, and we just went blend for blend. And it was just a beautiful thing, dog. And I appreciate you for that, dog.
I tell
you, man, it had been so long.
The beautiful thing about that, DJ Slam, is I told my wife, I said, my man is coming. My homeboy is coming from New York. Okay, who's this? I said, yo, this is like one of the most epic DJs out of the crew, and he lives out now in Arizona, and he's coming with his lady, and we're gonna have a little barbecue. And because I have my DJ equipment inside the garage, and that was to this day I still utilize it. And then I remember we got some brews, we got some beers. We ate first, we got some beers, and you and I was like, yo, you want to DJ? And you was like, absolutely. And I said to my wife, I said, watch this. And she was like, what? I said, just sit back and watch this. And we started doing, ladies and gentlemen, blend for blend is when he gets on one song, and once he blends the next song, I get on the turntables and I pick a next song randomly and I blend it in, whether it's scratching, however we do it, blending. We just went back and forth for like, 2 or 3 hours, right?
2 or 3 hours, yes, sir.
And then we got into freestyling. We just started. We put in, some Dr. Dre instrumentals, and we just started freestyling, like we was back in your basement.
And that's when you were chilling with that other dude that showed up to your house.
My man Burgers.
Yeah, Burgers. That's who you was rapping with at the time. That's pretty dope. That's pretty dope, dog. Without a doubt.
Now, let's rewind real quick. So you guys teach me we're in the middle of you guys teaching me how to DJ. And then I recall this one afternoon, we're at Danny Roman's house, his room. Ladies and gentlemen, this guy was probably the most spoiled individual out of the whole group, because the whole top bedroom was his. Of the house.
The whole top floor for the house was his. Yep.
He had his private bathroom. I mean, it was huge.
Everything.
It was huge.
Yep.
And he had DJ equipment adjacent to the window. I mean, you couldn't have it. I mean, listen, this was the pimp pad. This guy was so lucky. And then God bless his father, who passed away several years ago. He was such a good, kind-hearted person. Love him to death. We were there, and I wanted to go to the studio. I remember you were there, Donnie was there, and Danny was there, and I had a notebook. And I said, hey, guys, I want to go to the studio, and this is the song I've got. And I started singing, and as I was singing, I was shaking the notebook. And every time I would sing the lyrics, he would make fun of me.
Let me tell you something. Stop for a second. Stop for a second. Let me tell you something. Days may come and days may go. Hang on a second. I'm pointing. Let me tell you, I'm sitting here in the hospital bed right now, pointing my fingers the way you used to point your fingers when you used to sing, my nigga. I never forget it. I never ever. Yo, that's what makes me remember that song. Is because of the pointing of the fingers. It's not necessarily I remember the lyrics, nigga. I just remember days may come and days may. Oh man, God, that is funny. That's greatness. That is greatness. Yo, but that was your signature move, dog, and it worked. That's exactly what worked for you, dog.
That was probably
that's what made it so perfect.
That was like me when you lick your fingers when you got on the 12 inches, man.
Exactly. Yo, exactly.
Listen, we've had so many good times. You know,
so many. So many.
I listen. I'm sure you have your own stories, but I'm gonna tell one particular story, and you might not even remember it. But that's the beautiful thing of different minds, because we all capture different memories. There was a moment, and then we spoke about it on when I had Danny Jimenez on the podcast, where I was working at United Artists. And all of a sudden we had some lady friends come over from Freeport, if you can recall.
Oh, when we drank? Are you talking about when we drank in the basement?
No. This is this is at my house.
You were talking about Roman's basement, and we drank in Roman's basement and got
that was another time. That was another time.
I threw up on that chick.
No.
I definitely threw up on her. I remember that.
Okay, tell us about that time. I didn't know about that.
Hey, it's funny that you say Freeport, because Freeport, we had these chicks from Freeport, and we were trying to be badass. So we had mom's alcohol. Now, the specific alcohol had all kind of herbs and spices in the bottle.
No, that was my dad's. That was my dad's bottle. That was my dad's bottle. Yeah,
it was more like a decorative bottle than a drinking bottle.
Yes.
And that thing got me so hammered that I was like, "Yo, I'm feeling kind of fucked up," and I turned and I threw up all over the chick.
No, let me tell you the story, man. So the story goes is that, listen, we had some females from Freeport, good people from Freeport. What had happened was that they had came to my house because my parents were away for 30 days in El Salvador. Right. So we got Jimenez, we got Danny, we got Donnie. And then, they're there. And then you and I, we get into like this, we were just playing. It was nothing serious. But you put me in this chokehold. And then it wasn't a chokehold, but like you bear hugged me.
Okay.
To the point where you had me in the air and I passed out. And when you let me go, I dropped to the floor, and my dad had a deer. He had a deer posted on the wall with the antler, and when I dropped, the deer antler fell on the floor. You remember that? The deer antler fell on the floor, and then we had some of my people from Westbury there. One of them was called Rat Shit. I don't know if you remember. You remember Rat Shit? You might not even remember.
No, I don't remember.
That was probably the only time you've ever met him. And Rat Shit, and the Spanish was like, yo, echale saliva. He was like, yo, lick the antler and put it back on. And we started cracking up. He was like, yo, man, get the fuck out of here, man. You fucking crazy, man. Yeah. We had so many good times.
So many good times. Definitely, without a doubt. That's like that time we tried to do our own version of Cops. Do you remember that with Danny Roman?
No, what happened?
With Donnie. So it was my car at the time. I had the maroon car that I bought from Raz, the little Skylark. Do you remember
I remember that. Yeah, you had like a big speaker in the back.
Yes, and Raz had the video camera. You remember Raz was the first one that was allowed to use his video camera when his parents wasn't around.
Yes.
Okay, so we decided we were going to do this version of Cops. And we're driving around, and I see Raz, and I pull up. I see Donnie, and Donnie driving his car. That's when Donnie had the Maxima.
Oh,
So
the white Maxima.
He had the white Maxima.
Yes.
And I had the Buick Skylark, and Danny. And so I'm following him like I was a cop, and then he gives a little bit ahead, and then right in front of Danny Roman's house, he stops and gets out and starts running, and I try to run my fat ass after him. Is what had happened. And I couldn't breathe anymore with the problem. So we went from we went to videotaping our own episode of Cops to I Can't Barely Breathe. It was just so great. Like we had so many stories with you guys, man.
Bro, remember?
It was just so great.
Remember we went out to Eisenhower Park in the middle of the frozen lake
in the snow. Oh my God! I'll never forget running down that fucking hill on the way to the stage because all of us bit it. Did not one of us stand up. We were all sliding, and we got that on video. If Raz get out his ass and find it, he had it on video.
No way.
Us running. That day, dog. Because we were on stage. We were like, we got you moving. We got you going crazy, baby. But now, the reason I remember this so well is because we were all so muddy while we were dancing to that song.
Wow.
From falling on the way to the stage. Oh, man, it was great.
Damien,
Yo.
What was the name of the girlfriend you was with at the time?
Lisa Beretti.
Lisa. Oh my goodness. What was the name of the dude who was a bouncer across the street that used to have the 38, the revolver? Was it Shaka?
Chica Owula.
Oh my goodness, dog. What's up with him?
I'll tell you what. 2 years ago, when I went to New York, he's the head security guard of Hempstead School District.
No shit.
To this day, Chica Owula, that big old African dude. Yep.
No.
And his father, the reason, he was a bouncer at
Paradise,
at the club.
Paradise.
And the reason he wouldn't get in trouble is because his father was the ambassador to the United Nations for Africa.
Get the
and
fuck.
He had diplomatic immunity, dog.
Get the fuck
I've seen diplomatic immunity work firsthand because of that dude. Straight up and down.
Wow,
dog.
Bro, do you remember he used to bounce at our flag club, which was Paradise in Oceanside, man.
Oceanside, yep.
Bro.
And he was doing sprats on the water for a little bit.
Sprats on the water. That was like down the road, right?
On the water.
That was like down the road, right? Hey,
down the road.
What was the name of that spot that we would always go to eat? They had like the fries, so on the way back from Oceanside, we always used to stop by this hamburger spot. They had these waffle fries. You remember the name of that spot?
I do. No, I don't remember the name of that spot. I wish I did. I remember the spot. I don't remember the name of the spot.
Man, the people, they made huge and tons of money. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back here. We had to do a 2-part interview. Not a 2-part, but I guess we had to segue and come back because DJ Slam currently he's in the hospital, and DJ Slam, real quick, just tell the listeners what's going on with you, man.
I did not take care of my diabetes, and when you mess around when the simple as diabetes, if you don't stay on top of it, you will get the best of it. It started off as a blister on my foot, and then turned into a boil, then turned into the bone, he had to do a bone biopsy because the infection got into the bone. That's where we're at right now.
Oh, man.
So I have to have surgery tomorrow. They're supposed to close me up, and then we'll go from there.
All right, brother. Hey, man, we're going to be praying for you, and, best of luck, and we want to see you back on your feet and walking around,
Oh, definitely.
Hey, Listen, going back real quick, and once again, thank you so much for your time, man. We're gonna try to shorten this up and put the bow on it. But hey, you remember when I got out of high school? At the time, I was working at United Artists, and you were able to hook me up with a job. And the name of the place was called Century Carriers. You remember that?
I sure do. I sure do. Century Carriers is owned by a really good friend of mine. His name was John Saloni. He was the owner, and I was able to get myself a job there right out of high school, and I did really well there, so I could put anybody on. You know what I'm saying? It would do the job. So Century Carriers was a big part of my life. Yep.
I appreciate that, man. So, ladies and gentlemen, I remember I used to have to take the train. What was it in Hempstead? And what was the spot at, man? Where was it located?
We were in West Hempstead at first, and then we were relocated to Farmingdale. Off the 110, I believe it is, the 110 out there in Farmingdale.
There was another spot though, wasn't it? New Hyde Park or something that they were at for a moment.
New Hyde Park is where we were. Yeah. But after that, we moved to one spot.
Man, how long did you stay with them, D? How long did you stay with them?
I was with them until '99.
Oh, get the hell out of here, brother.
Yeah, I was with them until I moved to Arizona.
Oh man, by any chance, do you know if the company is still up and running?
Yes, it is.
Man, good for him. Good for him. Ladies and gentlemen, to me, it was the only bad thing is that we had to get up so early to catch the train to go out to New Hyde Park. But aside from that, it was a sweet gig for me because I sat in the passenger seat. We would deliver copy machines, printers, toner, and so we would be inside these cube trucks. And because I was a helper, I would just pretty much fall asleep on the way, to Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens. Sometimes we would take trips to New Jersey, and I would sleep. I would sleep. They, the driver would wake me up. Hey, we're here. Deliver the copy machines, and then on to the next stop.
Yep.
And I remember you were driving.
There was no navigation back then. We used maps.
Yeah, we had to use you guys had to use the maps. Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
That's right, man.
We used maps.
I remember if it was a Friday, and if we used to have to go to New Jersey, I'd be pissed because every Friday we would end up going to Paradise, that club, right?
Yep.
And you and I know if you had a delivery on Friday and you were going out to Jersey, you weren't getting back till 6:30 in the evening,
Nope.
And by that time, by the time you caught the train, you went home, you took a shower, the crew was already gone. So you that was your Friday. You're done. You're not going out. So I remember telling the driver, "Hey man, put your foot on it, man. I'm trying to get back as soon as possible to go out to the club." And he's like, "Hey man, I'm not catching a ticket." Hey, hey, remember
driving the left lane? Nope, not me.
hey, remember Snake?
Yes, I do remember Snake very well. Snake, I remember Snake. That was a very, very special individual.
Hey, look,
Snake was.
I don't know why this guy. I remember him and Dean and Piggy. But Snake, one time we were delivering in Manhattan to Rockefeller Center, and he had put the truck. Half of the truck was on the sidewalk, and the other half was on the street, and that's how we were able to unload and get whatever package and we had to deliver. Anyways, he forgot that he parked right in front of a fire hydrant. At the time I was unaware. I was asleep like always. He wakes me up. Hey, let's go. We got to go. Okay. So I wasn't aware that the truck was right in front of a fire hydrant. Obviously, when you're in a truck, it's high. You can't see it. And he drives straight, man, and messes the truck up. And I remember him saying, "Oh, fuck, I'm going to get fired."
Yeah. Snake was a trip.
Yeah,
But with
man.
those trucks, if it's right on you, you don't see it at all. I know exactly what he's talking about.
Yeah, because you're so high up, you know.
Yeah, well, driving for that company, I marked it on the ceiling every time I had an accident. I think I was up to like 272 minor accidents.
No way,
None of them went on. None of them went on record.
man. Hey,
But
I
it was like
remember.
little cab, little.
I remember you started off in the small cube, right?
Yep, and ended up in the 26 footer.
Man, hey, whatever happened to Dean, man? He was a cool cat.
Yeah, I have no idea what happened to D.
Man.
I wish I knew.
Hey, how's your brother Derek doing, man? Big shout out to Derek.
He's doing really good. He's doing really good. He has his own business out here in Phoenix.
No shit,
And,
man.
Yeah, he has his own appraisal company. So he's doing really well.
That's dope. He used
And
to be
he's doing big things there.
That's dope.
If you ever, you know who he has a lot of deals with is if you Google what's this guy's name? Derek's good friend's name is Doug Hopkins, and Derek does a lot of work with Dougie. And Dougie's a down to earth millionaire, multi-millionaire.
That's cool, man. Yeah, Derek
So
used to
down
be.
to earth.
He used to be our go-to guy every time we would have to put a system in our vehicles.
Oh yeah, the vehicle definitely.
Yeah, man. He
Definitely. Yep.
He would definitely take care of us, man. But hey, DJ Slam, listen, I don't want to keep you on the phone too much longer. I know you're laid up in the hospital.
I got a nurse here. I'm trying to be
Absolutely, man.
presentable for her. So
Absolutely.
I totally understand it. No.
But listen,
I totally
man.
understand it.
Yeah, but listen.
But thank you everything. Nothing but love, Papa. Nothing but love.
Thank you for everything and all the help that you've given us, brother.
I appreciate everything.
All right, man.
Anytime,
much love.
dog.
Much love, and we'll pray for
Much
you, brother.
love,
I'll call you tomorrow, see how you're doing after the surgery, brother.
Hey, thank you very much, dog. Much love to you and all your listeners and everybody out there listening, dog. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
All right, brother. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Chapter 59 with DJ Slam. Thank you so much. I love you guys.
DJ Architect.